Alright guys, what is going on, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be running through my round 1 tips for the 2026 AFL Premiership season. Now, last round and opening round, even though I didn't do a video, I still did footy tips, so let's take a look and see how I did back in opening round. So the first game, I forgot to tip, so it automatically goes Carlton. And I obviously got that incorrect. Second game, I tipped the Suns over the Cats. Got that correct. Third game, I thought I tipped the Giants over the Hawks, but I tipped the Hawks over the Giants. Hawks got up. Got that one incorrect. And then I tipped the Lions over the Dogs, which I think a lot of people did. Got that incorrect. Then I tipped my Pies over the Saints. Close affair, but I did get that correct. So I ended up getting 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 correct. So not that great to start off the season. I'm probably not going to win any comps so far. Talking about comps, if you want to join my footy tipping comp, feel free to do so. It's Bitter's Tipping Comp, and you can join it via the link in the description below. There will be a prize at the end of the season. More details to come sooner or later. But yeah, let's not waste any more time and let's jump in and see what my tips are for round number 1 of this season. All right, kicking off literally tonight, we have got the Thursday night game, the traditional game. It is Carlton taking on the Tiggies at the MCG. Carlton coming off that loss to the Swans, the Tigers. It's their first game of this season. Should be a decent one. If it's anything like last season, maybe the Tigers get an upset win again. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think the Blues will be good. They showed some good glimpses in the first half against Sydney, and then, well, in the third quarter, they just got blown away, and in the last, the game was done already. But yeah, I think the Blues should win this game. I think the Tigers, they'll just be looking to see how they go on this one and hopefully be competitive. But yeah, I've got the Blues winning by a margin of 14 points. I do think it will be a competitive affair, and it'll just be exciting to see, you know, a lot of new Richmond faces for them. But yeah, Carlton by 14 in that one. Next up, we go to the Friday night game. Friday the 13th. Is something spooky going to happen? Are the Bombers going to win? Are they going to make finals? Only time will tell. It is Essendon taking on Hawthorn at the MCG. I've got the Hawks winning this one. I think they're going to win by 22 points over the Bombers. I think the Bombers will be in and around, but I think the Hawks will be too good in the end. They would have been disappointed with how they played last week against the Giants. I feel like they probably should have won that game considering the team that they had compared to what the Giants had. But, you know, the Giants were a little bit too good on the day. So the Hawks will want to get back, get on the winners list, and I think they will do so by 22 points over the Dons. Then we move on to the Saturday games, kicking it off with the Dogs taking on the Giants. What a ripper this should be. The Dogs coming off that win against the Lions. The Giants coming off a win against the Hawks. So both of these teams looking to start 2-0 to begin their seasons. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know how the betting for the Suns has them at 320. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. I do still think the Dogs will win. I think it'll be a close affair. Normally, it's a good contest between these two teams. I'm going to go the Dogs in this one by 15 points over the Giants. And then we move on to the Cats taking on the Dockers at GMHBA Stadium, 4:15 p.m. Twilight game for this one. I think it's going to be a decent game. I feel like the Dockers, they normally play well at GMHBA Stadium for some reason. It's like the Dockers and the Giants have a weird liking to GMHBA Stadium. I really don't know what it is, but they seem to be the teams that like playing there compared to other teams in the league. Look, this is a tough one to tip. I feel like the Dockers, they'll want to come out flying in this season, and if they can get this win, that will bring a lot of confidence into their group going forward into the season. Whether they do that, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Cats will get the job done. I think it'll be a little bit of a tricky game for the Cats. Therefore, I'm going to tip the Cats by a margin of 10 points over the Dockers. We move on to the SCG for the first of 2 Saturday night games. We've got the Swans taking on the Lions. I feel like this one's going to be a decent game as well. The Swans are coming off a very good, well, very good second half performance, I'll say, over the Blues. Their first half was a bit 50-50, but they had a great second half, and if they take that momentum from the second half into this game, well, my goodness. The Lions, they're coming off a loss towards the Dogs. They probably should have won that game, let the Dogs back into it, and the Dogs got over the line in the end. Still played well, so you can't really be too disappointed if you're a Lions fan. Look, even though Sydney are a good team, I think the Lions will bounce back. I'm going for the Lions away from home at the SCG to get the W. I do think it'll be a great game of footy. I actually feel like it'll be very close, so therefore I'm tipping the Lions by a margin of 5 points over the Swans. Next up, we've got the Pies taking on the Crows. You already know what I'm going to say about this one, and I'm going to say it's going to be a close affair, because how many freaking times have we played the Crows and it's been a close game? Probably too many times to count. Not enough friggin' fingers on my hands to count. Funny enough, like the non-closest game was that qualifying final where we won by 24 points. And even that's 4 goals. That's not like blown away. But in the context of a Collingwood versus Adelaide game, it's blown away. So yeah, I do think this will be closer than the qualifying final. I do think it will be a good game of footy. Like I said, it normally is between these two. Normally it's a close affair. I'm going to be tipping us at the MCG coming off a win last round. And I'm going to tip us by a margin of 8 points. I think it'll be a single figure margin. Can't see it getting anywhere above 10. So I'm going to go 8 points. Next up, we begin the Sunday catalogue of games, and we start at Marvel Stadium, where North Melbourne are taking on Port Adelaide. North Melbourne beating us in a pre-season game. What can they bring to this game? I have no idea. Will they win? Will they lose? I don't know. I've tipped Port Adelaide. I'm not overly confident with that tip. But I just have. I've tipped Port Adelaide, and I think they're going to win by a margin of 16 over North Melbourne. If North Melbourne were to win this game, Jesus, I wouldn't be overly shocked. I honestly wouldn't be overly shocked. But I think Port Adelaide will just be a little bit too good in the end and get the Chockies by a margin of 16 over North Melbourne. We move on to the Twilight game, 3:15, and it is the Melbourne Football Club taking on St Kilda, the D's. They're playing their first game of the season. The Saints are coming off a loss to my Pies. Look, the Saints, even though they didn't beat us last round, I still thought they played well. And, you know, it's one game of footy. You can't really just judge it off one game of footy. They still played all right. They had good moments in the game. And I do think they'll beat the Ds. It'll be interesting to see how the Ds go this season, whether or not they are very competitive, make it towards finals. It'll be interesting to see how they go. But I feel like the Saints, they'll get on board with a win here, and they'll do it by a margin of 22 over the Ds. And then last of all, we've got the Suns taking on the Eagles at Metricon Stadium, at People First Stadium. But look, hopefully West Coast are competitive. But considering how the Suns played last round, oh boy, this could be a rough one for Eagles fans watching. Look, I don't want to be that mean to West Coast, but I think the Suns are going to win by a margin of like 62 points. I won't be that mean. I can't go triple digits, you know, round one. But look, would I be shocked if that happened? No, I would not. But I'm going to go 62 points for the Suns to beat the Eagles in this one. They just looked incredible last week. I mean, Christian Petrarca looks like a new man in the Gold Coast Suns. Jesus Christ. What were they feeding him at the D's? But yeah, Suns to win, 62 points. Should get the job done no matter what. But yeah, those are my tips done and dusted. Recapping who I tipped. I tipped the Blues. I tipped the Hawks. I tipped the Dogs. I tipped the Cats. I tipped the Lions. I tipped the Pies, Port, Saints, and the Suns all to win this round for odds of 38 and 3 cents. But yeah, those are my tips for round number uno, where all teams are playing, so thank God for that. If you want to join my tipping comp, you can do so via the link in the description below. I have to burp, so yeah, catch you later.